So I heard you guys like fluency.
日本語上手になりたいよ。
How about if I held your hand to fluency?
Okay.
You want this fluency, baby?
マット君エッチ。
Fluency is guaranteed, girl.
マット君早く入れて。
Yeah, take that fluency. Yeah. You like that fluency, don't you? Don't you? Yeah, take that fluency. Take that fluency.
何してはるんですか？
Katsumoto basically, he wanted to create like a video or like basically a podcast series where me and him would choose like an AJAT article or some topic about learning languages, and we just talk about it for like a half hour, and then we'd sell these like per episode. And I was like, well, that's cool, but maybe we can like give it free to our patrons, because if there's people sending us money monthly, it's kind of weird to then charge them again for what we create. It's like they're paying us to make stuff, and then they have to pay more for the thing that we make. That seems kind of like weird and disingenuous. And he was like, oh no, there's like weird psychology where people who pay like to pay more or something. Maybe it's a legitimate thing, but I thought that was weird.
Minasan yokozo, yokai one desu. So some of you were asking me to talk more about what's going on with the marketing for Project Uproot. So I wanted to make a video and dive really deep into everything that's going on marketing-wise. Just to preface, for those who don't know, marketing was my field of study in college, and I've done consulting for several companies, including an Australian magazine company, a fitness supplement company, and I've even worked with a company selling information-based products similar to Uproot. In this video, I'm going to be explaining the sometimes unethical ways that people get you to buy products. Aside from just analyzing the strategy that was taken with Project Uproot, I hope you guys can walk away from this video with a better understanding of how to keep it in your pants. Your wallet, that is. But before we dive into the marketing, I want to talk about this email I got from Ken. It's the results of the survey they did to find out what's best for everyone's schedule. All of the results pretty much make sense except for the last one. You can see that March 1st came first in the results, February 1st came second, and February 14th came last. Now, I remember when the original email came out, everyone on Discord was like, we can't believe that they would even put March as a starting date. Ken's explanation of this in this email is that it's due to people wanting time to arrange their schedules to fit our live sessions. However, if this were the case, you would think that the second most popular option would be February 14th and not February 1st. And also, until this email came, it was unclear when the live sessions would be, so that explanation really makes no sense. Personally, I wonder if they just needed more time to set things up or something, which would be understandable, but why lie about it? I'm just saying that all the other results make perfect sense, except for this one. Why would people pay for something and then choose to wait longer in order to get it? Especially since people are already on payment plans for the course, so by the time they actually get to start the course, they'll already have made several payments on it. The other thing he mentions is that we'll be getting access to his other course, Protocol 80, soon. Since that's coming out first, I may do a video about that while I'm waiting for Project Uproot to start. Unfortunately, Ken says in this email that Protocol 80 will be coming out in 48 hours, but as of recording this, it's been almost 60 hours since that email and it's still unavailable. So, before I talk about Uproot, I want to talk about two different types of marketing: value-based marketing and fear-based marketing. The most obvious examples of fear-based marketing would be things like anti-smoking ads, climate change ads, anti-drunk driving ads, and so on. But by definition, Any marketing that uses fear to make someone want to buy a product is fear-based marketing. Value-based marketing, on the other hand, happens when novelty meets core identity. So what does that mean? Core identity is, in your subconscious mind, the best version of yourself that you want to become. When talking about value, the concept of what is valuable to a person is hard to define, especially when talking about digital products that have low overhead in the first place. But even with physical products, value can be difficult. Some might say that the value of a hammer is the cost of the materials plus the cost of the labor that went into producing it. But this would be wrong, because a hammer is much more valuable to a person who wants to build a house than, let's say, someone who likes fishing. A person who wants to build their own house has the core identity of being a person who can build their own house. For example, they might dream about having kids in the house that they built, and they might imagine people seeing them as a resourceful and hardworking person. But let's say in this example that hammers don't exist yet, and someone's just invented one. So the concept of a hammer is still novel. Novelty is very valuable in marketing because when humans see something that's novel, it creates a dopamine spike in our brain's reward pathway that makes us remember that thing. But also when a product is novel, like in our hammer scenario, it has extra value to a person who has the core identity of wanting to be a person who can build their own house, because not only will it allow them to build it easier, it's also the only thing that can do that. This is authentic scarcity, and I'll talk about something called manufactured scarcity later. So novelty is important in the creation of a good product, but ideally you'd also want to market the product in a novel way as well. In summary, in value-based marketing, a product fulfills the buyer's core need in a new way, and the marketer only needs to demonstrate the value of the product in a way that will stand out and be memorable, like Steve Jobs introducing the iPod. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPod in 2001, most people had never seen an MP3 player before. People at the time were still used to carrying portable compact disc players, where they could only play an album worth of songs, and they had to carry around this big clunky thing all the time. So when Jobs said you can fit your entire music library in your pocket, people realized that the value of the iPod was so much greater than anything else in the market, and they became price insensitive, meaning that they didn't care how much they had to pay, because the idea of being able to listen to your entire music collection anywhere you want brought them a little bit closer to their ideal lifestyle. For example, laying down on the beach and listening to Plastic Love with your waifu body pillow. Now that you know what value-based marketing is, let's talk more about fear-based marketing. In fear-based marketing, we see the marketer talk about how novel the product is, but often with no actual demonstration of the product. The goal of fear-based marketing is to stimulate parts of your brain, like your reticular activating system and the autonomic nervous system, in order to put you in an anxious and vulnerable state, where the act of purchasing the product alone will relax and stimulate your dopamine reward pathway to make you feel better. Here are some of the tactics that are used in fear-based marketing to put you in a vulnerable state. The first tactic is FOMO, or fear of missing out. A lot of you have probably heard of this term, and all of you, I expect, have probably experienced this before in your day-to-day life. In marketing specifically, what happens is the marketer might suggest that there's a chance that you might miss out on a special offer or something. This causes you to subconsciously remember all of the times that you've missed out on something and felt bad about it afterwards. This makes you more likely to want to buy the product right away so that you don't miss out on anything. Another tactic that's used is called scarcity. Marketers use scarcity indicators to make you feel FOMO. For example, they might say, "We only have X amount of products left, and when they're gone, so don't miss out." This is called manufactured scarcity, because it's usually not based on any actual supply limitation, but a manufactured limitation that the marketer came up with. And that brings us to a related tactic called exclusivity. Marketers will use exclusivity to make you feel like they're inviting you to join a special club. Again, this triggers FOMO because it also makes you feel like your social status will increase if you buy the product, because you'll be part of something special that not everyone has access to. The next tactic marketers use is called urgency and time constraints. Marketers will often use a time constraint when doing fear-based marketing to make you feel like you need to make a decision right away. This causes you to make emotional decisions instead of logical decisions, because when the brain needs to make a quick decision, it will base that decision on emotion instead of logical thought, as logical thought processes take more time. The next tactic to look out for is social proof. Social proof like testimonials, live reactions, influencer promotion, and paid product reviews are often used to give the illusion of authenticity and desirability to the product. After all, if everyone's doing it, I should do it too, right? Then we have compliance stacking. Compliance stacking, or yes sets as it's sometimes called, is a technique used to get you to agree to things that you wouldn't normally agree to. When someone asks you a question or gives you a statement that's obviously true, you will agree with them. By doing so, you're complying with them, and the more you comply with someone, the more likely you are to continue to comply, because you're a sheep and there's a thing called
The Overton window, where politicians and special interest groups are using the media to slowly push the boundaries of what's considered acceptable in our society to give them more power and make you a TikTok-addicted zombie that doesn't have an attention span long enough to make your own decisions, so you let your social group dictate what you think is right and wrong.
Your social group is influenced by the media that's been paid for in order to give you the illusion of choice, but it doesn't really matter what side you're on politically because they're both controlled by the same people. It's you only as valuable as the fuel, they never really question whether assume everything is valuable on the planet. In order to try and satisfy the black hole, there's their ego, because they're so disconnected from ways to be human that they've never had a fundamental experience witnessing the infinite beauty of nature and
Finally, that brings us to upselling. Basically, when you agree to pay for something, you're in a mind state where you've already accepted that you're going to spend money, so it's much easier to convince you to spend more money because, fuck it, why not? Marketers know this and take advantage of it by offering you more limited time offers right after you finish putting in your credit card info. Basically to extract as much money from you as possible. Fluency guaranteed, baby.
That's what the Fluency Incubator is. It's designed to guarantee fluency, period, and pretty much replicate our success of learning fluent Japanese in under 2 years.
The big problem with fear-based marketing, aside from creating buyer's remorse and lots of refund requests, is that it can degrade the relationship that you have with your customers, especially if the product you're selling isn't good. And oftentimes in info marketing, it's a lot like being a crack dealer. Marketers will use fear-based marketing tactics to sell a person a product that is designed to not fully satisfy their needs, so that they'll come back and buy more expensive products. Let's talk about the customer-marketer relationship. Ooh. In marketing, there's a concept of hot, warm, and cold leads. Cold leads are people who just found out about you or don't know about you yet. Warm leads are people who know about you but aren't completely sold yet. And hot leads are people who already bought into the idea of what you offer and/or are already paying you money. The problem with overselling hot leads with fear-based marketing is that it breaks the rapport that you've already built up with them. It's almost patronizing in a way. To illustrate this, imagine that you've been good friends with someone for a while and you go to hang out with them and all of a sudden they're acting really weird. Like they're somehow trying to convince you that they're cool. It breaks the rapport that you had in your relationship with them and makes you not want to hang out with them anymore. It's the same issue when you start heavily marketing to hot leads with fear-based marketing tactics. In the situation with Matt and Uproot, it was especially bad because Matt essentially built his audience using value-based marketing. He let his ideas speak for themselves. There was no sales pitch in Matt's content, and yet people paid him thousands of dollars to make the content that he was making. Not to say that his marketing couldn't have been optimized, but when he suddenly started hard selling Uproot and making promises like guaranteed fluency, he completely broke the rapport that he had built up with his audience and supporters over the years. In marketing, you have to consider the lifetime value of a customer. Treating customers well and keeping rapport with them is more valuable in the long run than destroying it for a short-sighted cash grab. I'm sure that this was not Matt's intention, and I think it's pointless to speculate on the quality of the product that Uproot will turn out to be. But I think there could have been more careful thought put into the marketing of Uproot, and there would be more money to be made in the long run, assuming that the product actually does fulfill the core need that some Japanese learners have to sound native. So you might be wondering, why do people use fear-based marketing if it's so bad? The quick answer is because it works in spite of problems like lack of confidence in the product, laziness, and/or inexperience with marketing. Sometimes people fall into using fear-based marketing because it's the popular thing to do, or they're influenced by others into thinking that it's the best way to market their product because the majority of marketing advice on the internet is fear-based marketing. Believe it or not, there's a whole industry built around selling courses on how to do fear-based marketing to small business owners and entrepreneurs. And the people who sell these products actually use fear-based marketing to sell them. It's like a never-ending shit show of bad marketing. It's a lot easier to do fear-based marketing than it is to create a product that's actually novel and that you're confident in. Fear-based marketing has the benefit that it can be essentially copy and paste, because it doesn't really matter so much what the product is. So basically, fear sells. Putting someone in an emotional state allows you to provide the answer for a fee, and people become price insensitive when they feel like something can ease their fears. So in the end, I'm still hopeful that Project Uproot will be a valuable course, and despite the terrible marketing and the damage done, I think it's still possible for Matt to learn from this experience and to continue to provide value to the language learning community. If you've made it to the end of this video, I'd like to congratulate you with a limited time opportunity to hit the like and subscribe buttons so that you can see the videos I make about Uproot when the actual product finally comes out. Click it now. You won't regret it. Thanks. Click it.